Oh, hello everyone. It's been a while since I've done a stream. Now, there's a lot that's happened, and a lot that is going to happen coming up here pretty quick. What's the date today? It's the 13th. Yep, January 13th. Just about a week. Trump is going to be inaugurated, and I don't know about you, but a lot of us are thinking the man might not make it. The deep state is just way, way too entrenched. But security has been increased, and I'm sure that he knows, um, and his team knows the threats he faces. So, I'm not making any predictions. I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised. If you are a regular viewer of this channel, you'll know that I focus on self sufficiency and I emphasize the point that we are on our own. And I have up here on the screen the Palisades fire. But I didn't say anything yet about the North Carolina hurricane event either, which is really the same kind of thing. Um, so just straight up, let's just talk about the natural disaster. And I should say actually that even though a major theme that I have is that we are on our own, I actually sort of backed off, posted videos about it because I kind of figure that if you're watching my channel, you probably are already resonating with that. You're already thinking about how to be prepared. You're already thinking about what you need to do to make sure that when the hits the fan, you've got a plan. So if you're already in that mindset, then you know you don't need to hear me harping on it all the time. But these last couple of examples here, I think really drills it home. Um, so both the North Carolina thing and this fire thing in Los Angeles, uh, they just devastated the regions, right? Um, and there is a degree in these cases, along with also the Maui case and East Palestine. You know, there's only so much you can do. There's a lot of things that were just outside of your control, and that does pose part of the problem. But I'll come back to that in just a minute. The thing is, so I mean, I don't know how much to go into the weeds on this. I can go, but like I will say I'll use California as an example here. There's been a lot of controversy about the kind of preparation that could have been done in advance by Gavin Newsom. Um, but normally, there are actually some things you can do as a private landowner. Also, you don't have to wait for the government to come and help you out. As someone who has experience fighting wildfires, looking an awful lot like the people in this video here, actually, I know from knowledge and training and experience that there are some things that you can do to mitigate the damage that you can take on a fire. You can make sure that you can have metal roof. You can have metal roofs, right? You can clear fuel away from your structure. A lot of the fires are spread by the embers flying through the air. They can get inside the house, inside the attic area, um, unless you have all the holes, all the vents sealed up, and you can do that. But the grant you could do that. In the Palisade case, the high winds, however, made it an entirely different experience. So I acknowledge that. I freely admit that, that was a case where a lot of people, even if they'd done everything right to try to insulate their structures in their houses, they were toast. But there are often, I mean, cases, depending on your situation, where you can look over your property in advance and say, I really should get that tree down. I could put up a sprinkler system here, and depending on how it's powered, right? If it's powered off of electric and your power is shut, that could be a problem. But you can address that as well. There are some things that you can do. Likewise with North Carolina thing, there's hurricane preps. But I acknowledge that what happened in some of those valleys was just calamity. Like you can't really prepare for that except for to have a really good bug out bag and be ready to use it as quick as possible. The same is true for everyone. But the bottom line is, no matter how you do it, and granted, I mean, I really feel like I need to emphasize this in these cases. Granted, these acts of God weather events are such that you know you could have been the guy who had done everything right and still got killed or still lost family members. That's just kind of the way it is. So I freely acknowledge that. But it's also worth mentioning that in the four cases that I've already mentioned, there are a few common denominators. Both, so you got East Palestine, you had the Maui fires, you've got the Palisades, and you had the North Carolina thing. The North Carolina thing is maybe actually the aberration on this, um, but they all have in common that the government totally effed it up. Somewhere along the lines, the government got involved, and instead of helping, they inflicted a lot of pain. They inflicted a lot of hurt. There's a lot of controversy over the fire management in the Los Angeles area. Uh, that was all on Gavin Newsom, right? That was the government should have had things ready. They knew they were sitting on a tinderbox, and they weren't prepared. And if you live in those communities, it's on you to take into account the fact that your government is going to screw you. Same with what happened in North Carolina. When you had that calamity come through, the hurricanes and all the flooding and all that stuff, you should know when that event happens. This is the takeaway from the last 4 years or so. You've got to understand. You think help is going to come, you can't count on it. So my point is, you have to take your disaster preparation to an entirely new level. It's not just preparing for the disaster, it's preparing for the incompetent government response, or in the case of the Palisades, the government inability to prevent further damage. It was the case with Maui. It's the case with East Palestine. It's the case with North Carolina in that area, even right now, and it's the case in the Palisades. They all have in common the government did not do its job, and you have to start asking if maybe it's because the government can't do this job. There was time in this country, and you have to go back a ways. I understand 50 or 60 years where a lot of this stuff was handled locally. And maybe we need to start thinking about that. And yeah, so maybe it'll be a local government. Maybe you're back right where you started. Um, but it needs to be your own community, your own neighborhood taking care of each other. Because let's just face it, it's just not working. We've got case after case after case. You can go all the way back to Katrina if you want to, where the government response is almost as large as a disaster as the disaster itself. So, I'm saying my piece again on this. I've said it before. Um, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, at some point, people have got to start connecting the dots on their own. Um, having a governor or even a president try to manage these disasters is not working, and you cannot allow your loved ones to be at the mercy of people who just don't. Let's let's say that they care, but they don't care about your family the way that you care about your family. You know what I'm saying? All right. So I've that's all I'm going to say about that right now. Here's a couple of other things I feel like mentioning though. Um, I've had some issues with uh, trying to get traction on YouTube with some of my videos. Anyway, well, I guess I'm not going to be able to show you this, but like my last video was age restricted. Yes. So even though it details things that was happened 4 years ago, um, it was age restricted. I don't understand, and so I've had one viewer on it. So I've revisited Rumble. Now Rumble was supposed to be like auto syndicated. It's supposed to automatically copy the videos that I post at YouTube and put them on Rumble, but I see now that that did not work. However, because of the censorship, because of the algorithms and all that jazz, um, I'm going to start streaming. I'm going to explore going into Rumble more frequently and posting the videos there. And I will be experimenting with some live streams there. So please follow me on Rumble. There ought to be a link in it. If there's not, I will get one eventually. Also, find me on Telegram. There's gonna be a link there. There's links at the bottom of my most my most recent videos on that as well. Uh, Eventually, you're gonna see. I'm gonna make a prediction here. The the powers that be will shut down the main streams of communication. YouTube will be blacked out. It'd be like an internet kill switch. And unless you have other plans for how to communicate and get information during that time, you're going to be toast. Now, to some degree, diversifying into other platforms like Telegram and Rumble, that's that's the way to go. Of course, a fully implemented internet kill switch would end even Telegram. So you might want to be thinking about things like ham radio, for example. There's no way they can stop you on the ham radio. And I speak as someone who has this ham radio license, so I'm practicing what I preach. So you need to start thinking about these things because the way I see it, from where I stand, we're not out of the woods. I'm hoping that Trump sets things right, but he's got an uphill battle, and it's just going to be tough. And they're going to be he's going to be pushing harder than you could have imagined. He could go like. The man is pretty much fearless at this point, and he's pissed off, and he's not going to be pulling punches, but they're not going to be pulling punches either because they know what he's coming to do, and that could mean any number of things that we've been worried about. So I'm just going to keep this one really brief today. Please find me on Rumble. Please find me on Telegram. Please find me on X. Make these connections across multiple platforms. And hey, if any of you are ham radio people, maybe we can make a connection that way too. Of course, that would greatly jeopardize my anonymity, but one thing at a time. One thing at a time. If you happen to watch this, thanks for watching. Man, get out there and prepare your family for the worst, and make sure you include the government response in that. Have a good one. Till next time, this is Philosopher King 2.0. I'm out.